All right, guys, Mike here with Morrison's Outdoor Adventures. Continuing on with our recovery series here today, where we are going to be talking about snatch straps and kinetic ropes. Okay, we've talked about capacities, we've talked about tree straps, soft shackles, and bow shackles. Kind of the next thing is to talk about what we would use in kinetic recoveries. Which is two very distinct pieces of equipment, right? The first is, industry calls them snatch straps. I call them kinetic straps. I don't really like to think about kinetic recoveries as snatching a vehicle out. And then kinetic ropes. What's the difference between the two? So we'll kind of talk about that and cover that. And which one should you choose? But let's kind of define a kinetic recovery first. Kinetic recovery is vehicle-to-vehicle extraction where we are using momentum, okay? It's not a tow or a static pull or a traction extraction. It's where we are actively getting momentum, right? We're getting some slack in the line, getting a running head start, and using something with a lot of stretch in it, whether it be a kinetic strap or a kinetic rope, to absorb that shock load and transfer that stored kinetic energy to the stuck vehicle and hopefully pop it out. Hands down, kinetic recoveries are the most dangerous, right? We can't really control those forces once they start moving, and they're not static, like high lift jack and winching, or just a basic traction extraction where it's a static tow. Those are all forms of static recoveries, not necessarily forms of kinetic recoveries, right? So let's talk about kinetic ropes first. So the first one I've got here is from Ironman. Again, as with anything, we want our ratings here to be somewhere on it, okay? Same thing with our kinetic ropes, we want those ratings to be on it. This particular one, Australian, right, 8,000 kilograms. The snatch straps or kinetic straps typically are gonna have somewhere between 15 and 20% stretch. The Ironman one has 20% stretch. Okay, meaning it will stretch to 20% before it breaks. Okay, so we don't necessarily want to stretch it that full 20%, and definitely based on wear and tear and stuff like that, we don't ever want to go over that. But it is rated with a minimum brake strength, right? Not an average brake strength or a maximum brake strength. I can't stress that enough. So when we're choosing, okay, whether it's a kinetic strap or a kinetic rope, we want it to be rated roughly about 3 times the weight of our vehicle. Now, not the weight of your gross vehicle weight rating. We want it to be rated to 3 times, roughly 3 times the weight of the vehicle as it's loaded down. Most of us that are into overlanding, right, or overloading, we are going to be much heavier than our gross vehicle weight rating. We're seeing Tacomas and Gladiators and stuff like that well over 7,000 pounds now. So make sure that you're weighing your vehicle and you're buying recovery gear that matches it, especially your kinetic stuff. If we rate it too low, we're easily going to get past that 20% stretch and break it. If we rate the strap too much, then we're not going to be able to get enough force to get the stretch out of it. So make sure that, again, you're getting a correctly rated strap. Just like with tree straps, you want your stitching to go parallel, right? We want it running parallel down the length of the strap. I like the folded eyes, especially on my kinetic straps. They do tend to hold up much longer and do much better. Lengthwise, now this is opinion based, right? We're here on the East Coast. Very rarely do we have a lot of room on the trails and a straight pull to pop somebody out. So I like 20-foot straps. Some people will say they like 30-foot straps, even 40 or 50-foot straps. I like the 20-foot because by the time I add in 2 vehicles and a 20-foot strap, I'm definitely going to be, anywhere from 40 to 60 feet long, and very rarely can I get a good straight pull when I'm doing that. So I like that 20-foot length. Some people, especially out west, may like a 30-foot strap. You do get more stretch out of it. Again, it's a percentage based on the length. So the straps typically are going to be good for people who are not doing a ton of recoveries. If you're doing, a couple of recoveries a year, 3, 4, 5 recoveries a year, and not, really bogged down in mud and sand and stuff like that, these are a great cheap alternative to carry in your vehicle. Now, if you're going to be doing a lot of recoveries, okay, you're like us where we're guiding people, we're constantly using our gear over and over and over, a strap may wear out faster. Okay, we may wear the stretch out of it much faster. There is a term called hysteresis. It's the amount of time it takes it to return back to its original length, and sometimes it'll never go back to its original length. So just kind of keeping that in mind, think about plan ahead, right? How many recoveries are you really going to be doing? Because the cost of this versus say like the cost of a kinetic rope is a lot different, right? We're looking at, I don't know the exact price, but probably somewhere between 60 and 80 bucks for this versus anywhere from 200 and up or 170 and up on the kinetic ropes. So with the straps, one huge benefit is they do roll up nice and tight and they're easy to store somewhere. One of the good things about companies like Ironman and even ARB is when you buy their kit, a lot of times these are color coded. So you don't have to say, hey, go grab my Snatch Strap. You can say, hey, go grab the white strap. Or for ARB, it's go grab the orange strap, right? So they are color coded in the kit. Like for this one, the non-snatch stuff or non-kinetic stuff is all orange, where their kinetic stuff is going to be white. Okay, their kinetic straps are going to be white. Typically in kinetic recoveries, I do everything that I can to use a soft shackle just because of the forces and everything we're putting into play. But that is what we would call a kinetic strap. The next piece of kit here is what we would call a kinetic rope. So a kinetic rope, these come from the marine industry. This is what like tugboats and big cruise ships and stuff tied in at port. They typically are going to have roughly about 30% stretch, right? So they have a lot more stretch than our kinetic strap variant. The rating on them is typically based on the diameter of the rope. Okay, so like a 7/8, this is a 7/8 kinetic rope. It is rated to 9,500 kilograms. Most of your 7/8 ropes are going to be rated to somewhere around that 26,000 pound mark, give or take, minimum break strength, right? Go up to an inch, gets upwards of like 28,000 pound minimum break strength. You go up to an inch and an eighth, inch and a quarter, and we can get on up, you know, to where they have almost 2 inch in diameter. That's huge rated. Same thing applies for choosing one of these for your vehicle as far as weight rating, roughly 3 times the weight of your vehicle when it's loaded down with all its gear and everything. So make sure that your ratings are tied on them. You can already see like this rating right here is starting to tear off. So just keep in mind kind of protecting those a little bit. Some companies, will put them on the eye of the strap. Some companies will put them down here in all different forms, but we do want to make sure that it has that rating on there if we can help it. With the eyes, typically what I look for is some type of abrasion guard in the eye where we're going to load it at, because that's going to be the main wear point for these, right? Where they can suffer the most kind of wear and tear. What Ironman does and other companies like Safe Extract, Factor 55, they actually put like a plasticized rubber coating around the end of it there that will take up some of that brunt of the force. Now, basically, it's kind of like a Chinese finger trap, but it does have material in the center there. But one of the main concerns with these is when we get them in mud and sand, they are stretching and going back. It can cause a lot of wear and tear in there. Again, a lot of companies like, or not a lot, but a few companies like Factor 55 and Ironman and Safe Extract, they actually put a kind of plasticized coating on there that helps with that abrasion and kind of protects them. Again, with these, I like to choose about a 20-foot length, but that's opinion. Some people like to go with 30 foot or more, but you do get that 30% stretch based on the length of what it is. The great thing about the kinetic ropes is their longevity. Yes, they're going to be more expensive, but if you're somebody like Sarah and myself, where we run a company, we do a lot of recoveries, kinetic ropes are going to last a whole lot longer. Now they still develop hysteresis where they want to return back to, they take longer to return back to their original length, especially if we're doing multiple successive pulls with them, where they can heat up a little bit. But we do want to kind of make sure that we're keeping an eye on how long it's taking them to return back. But kinetic ropes are going to hold up better than your kinetic straps. They're going to last a whole lot longer. They're not going to pack down as neat and tidy, and again, they're still going to be more expensive. But a lot of times for most people that are not doing kind of recovery professionally, this is going to be a lifetime rope that you buy. Okay, you're never going to wear it out unless you just don't take care of it or you do damage to it and it can't continue on. A lot of great brands out there. Again, just make sure that you're looking at those ratings when you're purchasing them to know that it's that minimum break strength. This is where it becomes super important in those ratings. Not that it's not that important on the other stuff, but again, kinetic recoveries are the most dangerous, so we really want to make sure that we're focused on getting the correctly rated gear for kinetic style recoveries. Okay, so that's kinetic straps and kinetic ropes, kind of the difference between the two, the ratings and such, and choosing one for your vehicle. These are typically going to be for like the 7/8 and that style kinetic strap is going to be for your smaller vehicles like Gladiators, Jeeps, Tacomas, 4Runners. But when you start, or smaller Land Cruisers, but when you start stepping up to bigger stuff like our big diesel Ram, right, we're going to have to go to a much bigger size. Like for our diesel Ram, I've got a kinetic rope that's 1 inch and 1/8, so it's rated a lot more, and I would not use that with, say, our smaller Land Cruiser. Bigger is not always better because then you can't get the stretch out of it. But make sure, guys, if you have anything to add or you have questions, we definitely are only scratching the surface. Comment, leave us a comment down in the comment section there, and we'll make sure to do our best to answer it. Give us a like, a share, a subscribe. Every little bit helps to help us continue kind of doing these videos and putting them out there for you. And if you guys want to learn more, definitely come to one of our recovery classes. Bye.